Welcome back to our SoCon Basketball Preview Show, talking the Citadel Bulldogs, one of the schools in the conference that has a new head coach in place, but with Ed Conroy, joined by his big man Stephen Clark. Bit of an asterisk because you know the Citadel thing, and one of the really good seasons they've had there in many decades. That was about 15 years or so ago, but here you are back. And what's it like coming back? Did things seem the same? Were there folks in the hallway that looked familiar? What's that whole transition been
Well,
like?
first of all, thrilled and feel very blessed to be back. Citadel basketball, it means a lot to me and my family, and just so proud to be back and be a part of it. I was reminded, coming in, my cousin Pat, today would be his 77th birthday.
The author.
And he would be, I'm sure he's up there laughing right now, because we laughed hard last time when I came back. He never thought he'd see the day when I was coaching on the sidelines for the Citadel. But to be back a second time, we'd be having a pretty good laugh today. But special place, and a lot of people that care a lot about.
Stephen was part of the first winning season last year that they'd had since you won 20. And what a great run you had back there in the 08-09 year. But Stephen, new coach coming in, new philosophies, I would think. But it's probably helped that you guys really got competitive last year, and you were a tough team to beat, and some of the key guys are coming back from that team. Yes,
sir. Yeah, it's been great learning from Coach Conroy. I mean, we kind of hit the ground running from day one once he came. He's a basketball junkie. I like watching film. I just like learning from him. So. Should be an interesting year for sure. Yeah,
pretty cool. And again, 6'9", a guy who can block shots and score inside is a good guy to get to know on your roster, I would think. And
no question.
Probably going to build it around him a little bit, but give me an example of the style. They shot a lot of threes in the past. What's this image of this team going to be, and is it going to be similar to how you played back when you were there the first time?
Well, first of all, this guy I'm sitting next to, he's going to be a huge part of it, and he is a talented inside player, can block shots, has great timing, can score in there. But I'm going to move him around all over the floor. One of the things that we prided ourselves on last time was versatility and players playing multiple positions. Well, this guy fits right in the mold of what I'd like to do, and you'll see him playing really all 5 spots during the course of the year. He's that talented, and he's going to have that kind of season for us. The other thing, before Coach Balcom, we owned most of the three-point records. Now his crew just smashed them, but we were kind of ahead of the curve. I think a little bit on spreading the floor and shooting the three. We'll get back to doing a lot of that, and just like I said, versatile players, and then just trying to listen and watch every day and see what our players' strengths are in this first year, and just play to them.
112 assists last year. Talk about a guy who's versatile as a big man, and those weren't always necessarily passing out of the post. I remember you going to the high post often. Are you kind of a guy that's maybe looking to get an assist as much as you are to go to the basket, get some points?
Well, I'd actually argue I'm probably more of a pass-first player anyways. I think Coach has been telling me I actually need to be a little bit more aggressive, being a little passive too much. But when you got shooters like Jason Roach and Caden Rice that I've had in the years past, I know how talented they are, and I want what's best for the team. So, I'm finding shots for whoever on the team, is open.
Mm-hmm. Some of the guys coming back, Rudy Fitzgibbons is a guard, played a lot of ball there. Dave Maynard came in with 2 years of eligibility left. He'd been playing at Colgate. Actually was in the corporate world when they realized you got eligibility, but that guy, I thought there was maybe more there than he was able to be used for last year. Maybe he gets more in the rotation, but what about some of the other returnees and how you'll make it work with them?
No, counting heavily on the returning guys, and I think, as you mentioned, Rudy and David both can shoot the three at a high level, high percentage, so we'll count on that. Stephen's playmaking, as he mentioned. And then also a guy like Brady Spence. Brady's been injured quite a bit, but I think he's healthy now. He's had a really productive offseason. I think he can have a big year for us too. So counting on those returning guys is, to lend the leadership. We'll have a bunch of young guys with them. And at the Citadel, it's always important to have some upperclassmen that can kind of show you the ropes.
Jackson Price, 6'8" guy, played in about 20 games a year ago. Perhaps you see the upside in him?
Absolutely. So, Jackson's one that he can play either one of those front court spots for us. Talented. He can shoot the three as well and help us space the floor. So I think we've got some versatile players that we can move around and hopefully cause some different matchup problems.
Now this guy here, since he got to the league, and he's skinny. He's going to hope to stay that way the rest of your life. Believe me, you'll value that. But I'd put you in the category. Jake Stevens, Bas Leida at UNCG comes to mind as among the most improved big men that I've seen. What do you think has been the key to you advancing your game? Has it just been becoming more comfortable because you seem to be a student of the game? Is it adding a little bit of bulk? What has happened for you to improve the way you have?
I think it's been able to maybe see, yeah, I'm not as big as the other bigs in the league, but seeing what strengths I have. And coaches always talked about, we've worked on like post moves using my quickness. So using different aspects of my game to, attack these other bigs, but also, trying to add weight, stuff like that, trying to hold my own against these other bigs, playing defense and stuff like that.
You've probably seen some film last year, him playing with one of the great players come through your program, Hayden Brown, who since has moved on. But do you think maybe in watching some of that film, did you see where he was picking it up from a guy like that, or how maybe some of the older players he'd played with helped him come along?
No question. Steven is, as he mentioned earlier, he's a gym rat. He's a guy that loves to be in there, loves to work on his game, and loves to watch film of all different players and try to learn from them. So sky's the limit for him. He's been great from day one. We stepped on campus there, taking to what we were trying to teach and trying to instill, but also we're trying to find ways that we can really grow his and expand his game. And he's, like I said, he's been super about that.
Bunch of freshmen coming in. A lot of guys are going to help you in the backcourt. Guy that jumps out at me is Madison Durr from Atlanta. He's 6'4", 1,000 points, but 500 assists in high school. And you can get that to translate to SoCon basketball. You're going to have a good one there.
No, really, really pleased with our freshmen. All four of our freshmen, Madison. Well, we have more than four, but there's four of them: Madison Durr, AJ Smith, Kobe McAllister, Tony Carpio. Those guys are all going to play a role for us this season. Madison probably be asked to do more early. Him and AJ maybe because of the backcourt. We need some depth in that backcourt and need them to come through there. But then also have some graduate transfers that'll help as well. So in Austin Ash and Elijah Morgan, so we've got some pieces. We have to, early on in the season, we have to see how they all kind of gel together and see if we can get a group out there that really plays well together, the best five, if you will, and then we'll make a run from there.
Looking at some of the defensive metrics from last year, you had a great shot blocker. You led the league in that category. But you look at some other defensive stats, and some of them probably jumped out, the most important being you allowed more points than anybody in the league per game. But what are some of the things you've been working on to kind of change the template defensively for this team?
Well, we like to be really balanced on both ends of the floor, and just so that any night, whether it's a night we're not shooting the ball really well, what does tonight take to win this basketball game? And it means a big stop at the end of the game. We want to have just as much confidence in doing that as executing a half-court possession. And I know as a player myself, I love McAllister Fieldhouse, and I get chills every day when I walk in there that I get to work in there. But I loved in the second half with the baseball and football team on that baseline, getting down in the defensive stance and gutting one out there for the Corps Cadets. And I want our guys to have that same kind of feeling and tenacity on that end of the floor.
How do practices differ maybe in that regard, Stephen, in terms of Coach Conroy and what are his practices been like? Of course, you talk about basketball practice at the Citadel and based on what a cadet has to do, at times, the football or basketball or other athletes like, I can't wait to get to practice. But what are some of the things maybe that you're doing differently in practice?
Oh, they're intense for sure. I mean, I come out of every practice drenched in sweat. I'm about to pass out. Like I'm gassed every time. And I think it just speaks to the attention to detail we have for, the defense, the offensive things, learning different schemes and all that. But, like, every time we step foot on the court and we're running something, it's 100%. Like, it's intense for sure.
Funny to think that the last time you were the head coach of the Citadel, this guy was just barely walking. And, if he picked up a basketball, he maybe didn't have enough strength to shoot it. Anything, and I asked you earlier about if you saw familiar faces, but does anything remind you about taking the job this time in terms of where the team is compared to last time? Any similarities at all?
I think there's always similarity in kind of developing those new relationships and things like that. But people and places change as well. I know being back here today in Asheville and sitting in this building, and I can remember the games we had in here, and it's always for us it's always been a season ender. In here.
Yeah.
And we want to do everything we possibly can to change that and make sure that we have one of those season continuing games in here. But, this place is special. And so, when I walk around that campus, I just see so many, I remember memories from different buildings or people on campus that were great to me from the day I walked down there as a recruit. And then the last time I was here, and they're still part of our team going forward. I just know we can put together a great team of people and help us get to where we want it to be.
Sure. Well, he's back in a place that he knows how to win with a 20-win season on his resume in his first tenure at the Citadel. Ed Conroy, his big man Stephen Clark, looking to make some noise in the SoCon this year, maybe surprise a few folks as the season unfolds. And Citadel Bulldogs getting ready. We'll continue to visit with other coaches and players. We continue from here in Asheville on our SoCon Preview Show.